All right, shalom to the elect of Israel. I want to start by giving all the praises, honor, and glory to whom it rightfully belongs, which is Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. And what I said was all the praises, honor, and glory belongs to Yahweh, who is the Heavenly Father, in the name of his Son, Yahweh Shai, who is the Messiah, in the name of the Holy Spirit, which in Hebrew is Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, ever well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. And this is a response video to this video that was put up by Apostle Elder Tahar today. All right. It says, this is why, Slocky, which he titled, This is Why the Jake Man Does Not Deal with the Jake Woman and Other Topics. Yeah. And if you haven't seen this video, I recommend you to go see it. It's on his page. What is the 666 Mark II? GMS space, all caps GMS, and then capital T Truth. All right.
Almost 7.
And so as I watched the video he was referencing to, right? I watched it, man, and it's a great video, all right? And it's true, it's true, man, okay? And it just goes into, the psychology of women and everything, and how men, would just absolutely do damn near anything for them, okay? And how women are, they hypergamous and all that, which, let me get that, hypergamy. Hypergamy, it says the action of marrying or forming a sexual relationship with a person of a superior sociological or educational background. Let me look up Edom Online on that. Edom Online. Hypergamy says marriage of a woman into a lower class, caste, or tribe. Oh, wait, no, that wasn't it. Okay. No, that's not the correct word. It says hypogamy. It's not what I was looking for. All right. It says hyper. So they give you a little etymology right here. Hyper meaning above, in Greek meaning gamos, marriage. So she's trying to marry. So a woman, basically trying to marry above, what the regular man, the regular, status of men. They're trying to marry above it. Okay. And I could see I might go in the spirit off of this lesson. All right, a little bit. All right. So let me go back to Edom Online real quick. Hyper says hyper it says word forming element meaning over, above, beyond, and often implying exceedingly to excess, from Greek hyper, over, beyond, over much, above measure, so, and then let me just see what gami means. Right? It says word forming element meaning marriage. All right. So yeah, when a woman is hypergamous, she's trying to look for the best, the top. And the thing is, in this society, man, it's like they're not gonna see that the elect men are the top until all hell break loose, man. All right. They're not gonna understand that. Okay. They're not gonna get it. They're gonna go for the top. Listen, until all hell break loose, and they really living in it and really down, they're gonna go for, the high status, the man with all the money and everything. You see? This is Wisdom of Solomon 9:6. For though a man be never so perfect among the children of men, yet if thy wisdom be not with him, he shall be nothing regarded. Okay? See? And this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 2, starting in verse 6. For Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai giveth wisdom, out of his mouth cometh knowledge and understanding. He layeth up sound wisdom for the righteous, He's a buckler to them that walk uprightly, you know. And money is something that leaves, okay, and wisdom won't leave you if the Lord takes it away. All right, and the Lord is going to give his wisdom to his elect. He ain't going to take it away from them. You see? So, and when all hell breaks loose, that's what you're going to need. As the scriptures say, it's the book of Isaiah 33 and 6. Wisdom and knowledge, see? And wisdom and knowledge, the wisdom, knowledge, understanding of the scriptures shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. The fear of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai is his treasure. Okay? You know? So it's so look, man, they gonna always, they're gonna overlook. They're gonna basically, it's like a Superman and Clark Kent situation. They overlooking Superman right now, and all you like-minded brothers that teach a doctrine that GMS teaches. In reality, you're Superman, okay? But right now, because we have, you have hidden value, to these women out here, you're Clark Kent, okay? Just regular, you know. I'm not saying this to be insulting or anything. I'm just, explaining the point, you know. And the thing is, man, look, be honest, bro. Really, we ain't really focused on these women, you want them, but then to me personally, now I done got to the point where I look at a woman, and then I think, I'm really just like, I don't even really approach. Okay, I might give a compliment here and there. That's about it. You know, see if you take the bait or anything, but really, man, I'm not gonna really try to look for something serious like that, man. I mean, if the Lord throw a bone, I mean, I may or may not, but thing is, basically, what I'm trying to say is when I, look at a woman and everything, I'm already just imagining like imagine how things can go left, like where to lead to, it'll be happy in the beginning and etc. Here comes the problems, what she'll do, all this adultery, all that type of stuff, you see? And that's what the guy was kind of getting into, in this video. It says Schopenhauer exposed the dark truth about women that men still ignore. He was basically saying that they hardwired to be like that. They hardwired to be hypergamous and all that, wanting the best. And the thing is, man, these women, they'll be like that. They are really like that. They will really show you that, man. And the thing is, if you're a woman and you have a husband, I don't care how much more a man, is in status above your husband. You're supposed to stay with that man as long as he lives. This is the book of, and you're not supposed to want another man. It's the book of Romans 7:1. Slack verse 2 says, for the woman which hath an husband is bound by the law to her husband so long as he liveth. But if the husband be dead, she is loosed from the law of her husband. See? So she's supposed to be with him as long as he lives. All right, but if he dies, then she can be with another man. See verse 3, where it says, so then, if while her husband liveth, she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress. But if her husband be dead, she is free from that law, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man. All right. So it doesn't matter. Okay. It doesn't matter, how much status a man has. You supposed to, some woman, married woman, supposed to stick with her husband, man. She has a man, she's supposed to stick with him. Okay. But when all hell breaks loose, okay, these women, all right, let's get something real quick. Because right now, a lot of these women, have these men of the world and everything. 2 Ezra 16:33. The virgins shall mourn having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn having no helpers. Right? Why? So these women are basically going to end up without men. All right. That is going to because right now, they have the husbands and boyfriends and all that type of stuff going on. But but they're not going to have them for too much longer. Why? Verse 34. And this chapter goes into Jacob's trouble, lawlessness, chaos, all hell breaking loose. It says, in the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish with famine. In the wars, the draft, like a military draft and then just regular shootout, or something like that when all hell breaks loose. See, and famine. So these average regular men are going to be dying out here. So what's going to happen? You know, what's going to happen? Well, that brings us and think about it. It's not just think about it. This is gonna be Let me get this real quick. Isaiah chapter 3, verse 25. Right, it says, "Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war." You see, so these men out here, even these six-figure alpha male type dudes, with the podcast and all that, getting the money, so Instagram famous, social media famous, cars, nice living, luxurious living, they're gonna be put to death too, and when all hell breaks loose. So where's that gonna leave the women? This is the book of Isaiah 4, starting at verse 1. And it says, in that day, 7 women shall take hold of women. Let me look up something real quick. Let's see what the AI overview says. It says, Isaiah 4, this is under the AI overview. Isaiah 4:1 describes a future time of such great hardship, likely due to war, Jacob's trouble. It says that many women will be desperate for marriage and will seek out a single man to be their husband, even offering to provide for themselves rather than rely on their husband's support, right? But it says many women, many. This is in the AI overview, man. Okay. Oh man, this is an AI overview. Okay, so I look, man. Multiple women, you brothers out there, look, the apostles known as great Nelson. I've told you that the word 7, the number 7, doesn't only literally mean 7. Okay, it means completion. Okay, and let me go to the letter Bible real quick. All right, letter Bible, Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. Okay, let me look at that word for take hold of. Okay, now look at this. This is Strong's H2388. The Hebrew word here is chazak. All right, and it says to strengthen, prevail harder. But here's the point: to press or be urgent. So they're going to be basically like begging, pleading to be with a man of the Lord in that day. So you better just be patient, just be patient. You keep saying it, but you got to be patient because it's going to happen in due time. In due time. All right. All these, you're going to have women of different tribes, man. Even the nigga woman is going to be trying to run down and get her black ass saved. Okay. But I feel like a lot of, BWs is going to get rejected in that day. And a lot of women in general are going to get rejected in that day. Okay. But you're going to have all the different tribes: Asher, Naphtali, Zebulon, Gad, Reuben, Ephraim, Simeon, Manasseh, Issachar, Benjamin, Judah, Levi, all 12 tribe women, trying to get with a man of the Lord. But they're gonna be trying to get with him doesn't mean that they actually gonna, um, doesn't mean they're gonna actually be with him, because he gonna have the power to reject you in that day. So it says here, this reflects a reversal of traditional roles in a desperate situation, right? Where women are willing to sacrifice societal expectations to secure a husband. Let me see, and here's a more detailed breakdown. It says, in that day, 7 women will take hold of one man. All right. It says, this signifies a time of immense hardship and social upheaval, likely caused by war or judgment, where men are scarce, according to Bible reference, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel and be called by thy name. All right. It says to take away our, let me see what it says here. It says, the women are so desperate they are willing to be self-sufficient and provide for themselves, challenging the traditional expectations of husbands providing for their wives. They simply desire the status and honor of marriage, even if it means being called by man's name. Now, the thing is, with the marriage part, right? Only let us be called by thy name. How does a woman take a man's name? By marriage. But what does the scriptures tell us that marriage is? It's the book of Genesis 24:67. It says that Isaac brought Rebekah into his mother Sarah's tent, and took Rebecca, and she became his wife. So they had sex, and so it says after that she became his wife. So marriage is sex, all right. And Elder Malcolm was saying, because I looked it up, sex means to cut, all right. Because the hymen and everything. So the man that enters into her the first time is her husband. Okay, let me just see if I can pull all that up. All right. Um, and this might get a little, it's got to be mature here. All right. Let's type in what is a hymen. Okay. It says the hymen is a thin membrane of tissue that typically surrounds the vaginal opening. All right. It's a natural part of the female reproductive anatomy and is not related to virginity. The hymen's appearance can vary from person to person, and many factors can cause it to stretch or tear, not just sexual intercourse. All right, but I mean, what happens though if you go in there? These women out here, majority of women don't got no hymens, man. Okay, let me get this real quick on Adam Online. Okay. The word sex means to cut. Sex, all right. Seen it. That's probably gotta look. Okay, here we go. It says late 14th century, males or females considered collectively from Latin sex as a sex state of being either male or female gender. So not that definition. There's a word of uncertain origin, commonly taken with seco as division or half of the race, which would connect with secare, meaning what? And divide or cut. Okay. So we mean to cut. Okay. So when you go back to Isaiah 4:1, okay, the way a woman takes on a man's name is by marriage, which is sex. So in that day, they all going to want him to be laying down with a man of the Lord. So as to right now, you got to fight. You got to do all this fighting for it. You gotta do all this. Bending your back just to try to get for her to spread it open for you and everything. And that day, man, women. This goes to show you that women are going to be real humble. Okay, in that day, real humble, man. Right now, they prideful as a mother effer. They won't even look your way sometimes. You could be a regular man, things going good for you, normal, okay? But they ain't gonna look your way. Proverbs 16:18. Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. You see? My advice, this is just, advice to brothers, man. Okay, this is just advice to brothers. All right. Um, you know, the thing is, the apostles, have done videos on this subject before, you can these women out here, man, you trying to, you don't have to do this, but if you want to, it's all right. There's nothing wrong with it. All right, but if these women out here, you trying to date them and take them out and everything just to go get, and she knows that you want, some cat. Okay, but look, you have to do X, Y, and Z, man. It's better, to be honest, for you just to go, deal with a harlot, if you know what I'm saying. Just to give her the money. To be honest, it's like you paying either way. All right, you paying either way. You take a regular woman out on a date, you're gonna pay for the car. You're gonna pay for the date, more than likely. She ain't gonna really want to continue with you unless you pay for something. All right, at least, um, you see, not they don't want to give it up the first time. You gotta wait. You gotta keep playing this game and waiting, and then you gotta do it again and again and again until she feels comfortable. So it's really like you're serving her to an extent. But point is, you give her the money. You be paying, okay, and after a while, she gives what she gives you. Rather with a Harley, you just do it quicker. You see, it's really, to be honest, it's really no difference, man. All right. See, here's the thing, right? When I said, basically, I go through the spirit on this because there's a lot of ways, a lot of things I could talk about just in this video. Okay, but let me just get this word prostitute, man. Okay. Some Israelites, other Israelite camps, they don't like it when we talk like this, but who gives a damn, man? All right. You know, just think about it. A regular, woman that's not not so-called selling herself pretty much. You know, she's, a prostitute as well. Okay. And there's not no difference, A harlot, I'm gonna say harlot, for YouTube's sake. A harlot, you know, you're not the first one she's been with. A regular woman, you're not the first one she's been with. Okay. You're gonna pay for a harlot. And we just went through how a woman, that you dating that's not selling herself, you're gonna pay anyhow. It's a lock you for the background noise. Okay. You know, yeah. I mean, what else? Some people just say, love and all that extra stuff, but that there's not look, man, there's nothing wrong, with you having a regular woman. Okay, I'm gonna just say that, but I'm just trying to, say what's more convenient route, being that we in this truth, right? Convenient. It says fitting in well with a person's needs, activities, and plans, involving little trouble or effort. Yeah, you know, even Apostle Paul, Slovakia, even Apostle Paul said this. This is the book of First Corinthians, chapter 7, right? And I'm gonna get this in the NLT. I'm gonna read it here first. First Corinthians 7 and 28. And if thou marry, thou hast not sinned, and if a virgin marry, she hath not sinned. Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh, but I spare you. Let me get that in a different version. All right. NLT. But if you do get married, it is not a sin. And not marriage in the sense of, ring, finger, wedding, just so you get with a woman, and even if, you lay down, marriage is sex, we just went over. So basically, if you're dealing with a woman, okay. But if you do get a woman, it's not a sin. All right. So then if a young woman gets married, it is not a sin. However, here's the point. Those who get married at this time will have troubles, and I'm trying to spare you those problems. You see, you're gonna have, that trouble in the flesh, man. Those couple issues, those couple problems, But the point is, First Corinthians 7 and 32. But I would have you without carefulness. He that is unmarried cares for the things that belong to the Lord, how he may please the Lord. See? But he that is married cares for the things that are of the world, how he may please his wife. So if you don't have a woman, basically you're more available to please Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai and do the things according to this truth. And in the end, man, look, we all gonna have women, all right? Like it or not. Okay. In the kingdom, some brothers, Isaiah 4 and 1, which is right around the corner. All right. So, it's coming. All right. It's definitely coming, man. All right. But the thing is, as I was doing the comparison between the regular woman and the harlot, you know, um, yeah, both of them are getting paid. Both of them, you invest in time. It's just with a harlot, it's more straightforward. It really no strings attached. With a woman, you invest in your time, energy into her. We got other things, we got better things, to invest our time and energy to, which is this truth. Okay. We got way better things to invest our time and energy into, man. Okay. But as this definition goes, all right, it says to offer indiscriminate sexual intercourse, but it says from Latin prostitutus, past participle of prostituere, etymologically placed before or in front, hence exposed publicly and especially exposed to prostitution. So really, when you think about it, all these women, okay, are prostitutes, man. All right. If you really dealing with the definition here, Okay, you are basically, if you're being honest with what the definition says, exposing publicly. All right, how did it do that? How are all these women doing that? By way of this social media thing. They all standing out there in front of all on social media, putting themselves out there. Okay, so they all out there, man. All right, and also the scriptures say this. This is the book of Amos, chapter 7, verse 17. It says, "Therefore, thus saith Yahweh, thy wife shall be an harlot in the city." See, that's the point. Thy wife, a woman, all right, is going to be a harlot in the city. All these women, all right, look, man, they all basically harlots, okay? And the scriptures tell us how to, deal, all right? So, and it's the thing, man, it's good because as we read in Proverbs 2, the Lord laid up sound wisdom for the righteous in these scriptures. There's a men out here that don't understand the psychology of women, all right, and how they act and maneuver, and they actually off themselves because of it. So you having this knowledge, this understanding, and you dealing with these women and applying it, all right, is really saving you a lot of trouble, whether you understand it or not. It's the book of Proverbs 31, right, and 3. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. Okay, so you're not supposed to be giving your all to women. And in this video, they go into how the man is basically a simp, damn near. Okay, how most men are simps and all that. Okay, and you got to get out of that simp mindset. All right, that's one thing the truth does for you. And that's one thing the truth definitely did for me. All right, getting out of that simp mindset. This is the book of First Ezra, and as I was watching the video, this chapter is basically all I was really thinking about. This is the book of First Ezra. Chat, let me see. Was it all on that Isaiah 4:1 meaning? Okay, let me finish some of this in Isaiah 4 real quick. So it says here, to take away our reproach, being unmarried or childless was a source of shame in ancient Israelite society, and the women desire to be rid of this reproach by being married. In essence, Isaiah 4:1 paints a picture of a future where social structures are turned upside down due to dire circumstances. Yeah. And the Lord is the one that's going to bring it, those dire circumstances, which is Jacob's trouble. And these regular social structures, doing this, that, and the third for women being on top. That's the social structure. Let me look up the definition of social structure real quick. It says social structure refers to the organized patterns of relationships and interaction with a society, shaping how individuals connect and behave with each other. So in other words, it's the way you normally deal with each other. Okay. For example, dealing with a man and a woman, what they would, expect you to take her out, pay for her, this, that, and the third. Okay. You basically just serve her. So, but it says here, in essence, Isaiah 4:1 paints a picture of a future where social structures are turned upside down due to dire circumstances, you see? Because then women, in their desperation, are willing to forego traditional roles. The traditional things like, taking them out, you serving them, this, that, and the third. So when all hell break loose, it says they're willing to forego traditional roles and expectations to secure a husband. And not just any man, but a man of the Lord. Why? Because he's going to have the Lord with him, protection, stability, wisdom, knowledge, understanding. He's going to be gold in that day. Let me get that scripture. You see? Isaiah 13. So really, man, we're the prize. Okay. These women, they don't understand none of this that we're talking about here. Okay. Maybe the sisters that listen in and listen to the videos, all right, they, understand, but majority of these women, man, they don't understand this. They don't understand that they, in essence, are really not the prize. Okay. But the circumstances is going to show that an elect man of the Lord is really the prize, man. This is the book of Isaiah 13:12. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man in a golden wedge of Ophir. Okay. Let me look at that word. Precious. All right. Hebrew word is yaquar. All right. Hey, Salakia for that, the screen cut out. Like it froze, so I had to, restart the computer. If that happens again, just skip ahead to the point where I continue to talk, man. You know? And I'm gonna go ahead and get right back into it. I ain't stopping nothing. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up that same scripture and that same Hebrew word. All right. Satan over here trying to freeze the computer, man. We back in it. Praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai. This is Isaiah 13 and 12 again. All right. Let's go. It says, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man in the golden wedge of Ophir. All right. And that word for precious, before I was rudely interrupted, Strong's 8:3365, the Hebrew word is yaquar. It says to esteem, be what? Be prized. So who's really the prize, man? Okay, be valuable. All right. Be precious because to be appraised. All right, you get the idea. All right. So in that time, you elect brothers out there, you're gonna be good. All right. You're really gonna be the prize. You know? The thing is, you're the prize now. They just don't realize it. Okay. So just wait. Just wait. Just wait, man. But let me get to that verse, that chapter in First Ezra that I wanted to get. First Ezra 4. And yeah, because that video is all I could think about. This First Ezra chapter 4, starting at verse I'll start up in verse 18. It says, Yea, and if men have gathered together gold and silver, or any other goodly thing, do they not love a woman which is comely and favor and beauty? Right. And the thing is, a lot of men stumble at woman's beauty. Let's see what it says for AI overview. It says the phrase stumble at not at the beauty of a woman is a warning found in the biblical book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, meaning an interpretation, avoiding lust. Interpretation, the core meaning is to advise against being led astray or morally stumbling due to a woman's physical attractiveness. That's what a lot of people get caught up by. Really got nowadays. You really got to look past that. How attractive a woman looks. See, in the kingdom, all right, you won't have to do that. With the Israelite woman, you ain't gonna have to do that with the Israelite woman. You're just gonna be able to, if you wanna, and she's not with nobody, okay, she's, not married, you can have her, all right. When she's of age and everything, you can have her, okay. It says not being ensnared by outer beauty. It cautions against being captivated or overly focused on external beauty, which could lead to inappropriate desires or actions. Focusing on inner character, the verse implies the importance of looking beyond outward appearance and valuing inner qualities, character, and virtue in a person. That's right. Okay. Maintaining moral vigilance, the verse serves as a reminder to remain vigilant against temptations that can arise from physical allure. Because most of these women, okay, they're just demons. Okay, but they're just made beautiful. All right. It says not letting beauty control you. Essentially, it's about not letting the beauty of a woman overwhelm your senses, cloud your judgment, or cause you to stray from your values. Okay. It says, in essence, the phrase stumble not at the beauty of a woman is a call to maintain self-control, focus on inner values, and avoid being led astray by physical attraction. All right. Because that's a lot of men get caught up, And I mean, who doesn't want a, beautiful woman? But you just can't let that, you can't just go off of that, man. All right. You want her just because she's beautiful. You can't really do that. All right. You know? But First Ezra 4:19, it says, and letting all those things go, do they not gape and even with open mouth fix their eyes fast on her? And have not all men more desire unto her than unto silver or gold or any goodly thing whatsoever? Okay. So hey, men, that's how men do. They just, you see a woman walking by you staring with your mouth hanging open. All right. And let me jump down though. Verse 26. Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women and become servants for their sakes. Many also have perished, have erred, and sinned for women. See? And then let me see if I can pull up that video. I ain't gonna play it because I don't know if it's copyrighted, but you know, um, I want to see if it's a certain part in there that they were talking about. Okay, where is it? Okay, it's this one. But when I'll put the link to it in the description of this video. Let's get past this stupid ad real quick. All right, so let me just see. So here. No. Bear with me just 1 second as I find it. And this is a good, definitely a good thing for brothers to go watch if you haven't seen it already. Yeah, that's just this part. I don't understand. I didn't, I noticed, I knew it, but not, some things, just need to be said. All right. Women will read little micro expressions in your face, little twitches and things like that, tone shifts, and they respond to stuff like that rather than what you're saying. Let me just see. So this is a certain part I'm looking for. Okay, here we go. Now this part is the one that stuck. It was like, wow. It says the men who thrive aren't those who conquer women, but those who conquer themselves. Okay. It says here they develop a purpose so consuming, so intrinsically rewarding. All right. It says that female attention becomes a pleasant bonus rather, um, basically rather than a necessity, rather than a life or death necessity. Right. Because you got men out here that are, in other words, fiending for women. Okay. They just act like they need them. So it's basically telling men that are, basically focused on their purpose. And our purpose is this truth. Okay. Now listen to this. History's most remarkable men, the artists, the inventors, the warriors weren't distracted by the chase. They were too busy building empires. Yeah. Okay. Well, let me just get this last part. Here are the 3 pillars of unshakable masculinity. Because one, well, it goes into some other stuff. I mean, you can watch this video, okay? But yeah, man. And the scriptures tell us how to deal with them. There's a lot of men that fell to women. Okay, look at what happened to Samson. All right, look what happened to King David, Solomon. Okay, a lot of men that fell due to women, and women is not to be praised, man. Okay, understand that. So really, as a man, you really got to put your foot down, focus on yourself. Well, focus on your Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right, and this truth. Okay, you know. And don't really even care, what the fuck a woman is talking about for real. All right. Don't, just let them be, man. Just if they come along, they come along. If they don't, they don't. All right. You know, it's as simple as that. Okay, once you get that clear, even if you burning, like I was saying earlier, go deal with a harlot, bro. I mean, if you get a woman, they're not wrong, but this is just edification to bring out, you know, to help any brothers out there that's dealing with that. All right, it's just just basically like just edification, man. All right, but I forgot the scripture I was gonna get. Okay, but yeah, definitely this truth shows you how to be a man. Okay, you know. And by the way, man, a woman likes man. She doesn't like someone she could just walk over. All right, even though they may not say it. All right, like a brother told me, basically, there's a lot of stuff women won't say, but they want you to do. They will never admit to it. All right, but they want you to do it. You really be a man. Okay, don't be afraid. Put your foot down with these damn women out here, man. Okay, don't be afraid. You're a man. All right. Like Apostle Gabar said, in order to be a man of the Lord, you first got to be a man. Okay. And that's what the Lord is, bringing us into. And remember, we over the woman. Woman ain't over us. 1 Corinthians 11, verse 3. It says, but I would have you know that the head of every man is a Mashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of a Mashiach is Yahweh. Okay. And by the way, when you read in Sirach, man, because as Apostle Dahar was doing, going to this video, but he was saying how like Salak, this shit messing up. Damn, bro. All right, but basically, he's saying how like Edomite women and everything. Basically, these other women in the other nations, they see how they see how they know Jake's worth pretty much. They could see it, okay, and they could tell like Edomite women. He said they know that their man is going down. It's over for them. We got a kingdom coming. All right, they could basically tell it like something in them that could tell it. Okay, and yeah, the Israelite woman is undesirable, very undesirable, and I'm talking about especially the black woman, man. I don't even want to speak her up too much, but yeah, like you said, they're gonna have to wait to the kingdom, all right? Because we don't need the Israelite woman to bring back the nation, and that's the truth. You see, we don't need the Israelite woman to bring back the nation. We don't need you. All right? We don't need you blacks. We don't need you black women, you Hispanic women, you Native American women. We don't need you. Okay? We don't. There's many other women out here. We don't need you. All right? To bring back the nation of Israel. We don't. We're the men. We carry the seed. Okay? And that's just the way the Lord set it up. Take it up with the Lord if you're mad and see how that turns out for you, man. All right? You women are going to get fucking humbled, man. It's going to be a pleasure in my soul to see it. Okay, I hope our Lord willing, hope I can see it, man. Okay, just wait. But I'm gonna leave it there, man. I ain't gonna rant too much longer. It's 48 minutes. All right. So hey, with that, man, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash, that belong us to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, never well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. Shalom to the elect.